We're going to be reading this week Parshat Tisa. And this is right after Kabbalah Torah. We accepted the Torah. And 40 days later, we're dancing the Hora around the Egel. How in the world do you explain that? We reached the highest level. We heard God speak. We witnessed the 10 plagues. We're right now in the desert. We're having an amazing existence. We're 3 million people that are sustained in the desert. We understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in control. And yet, it doesn't take 40 days for all this to go out the window. And now they are dancing and singing and they're pointing to this Egel. They're pointing to this golden calf and they say, Ela Elokecha Yisroel Asher Elucho Meretz Mitzrayim. This is your God that took you out of Mitzrayim. What is the Jewish nation? What are they thinking? How did they stoop to such a level? So the Saba from the Bardik said, one time there was in Warsaw, in Warsaw, there was an individual that counterfeited money. He knew how to counterfeit money and he knew how to do a good job. So he proposes a deal to one of the people in Warsaw and he tells him, listen, if you give me 30,000 real dollars, I will give you 100,000 counterfeit dollars. That's amazing, right? That's a good deal. So the person says, yeah, but how do I know this counterfeit is going to pass? How do I know it's really good? So he says, listen, I'll give you 1,000 counterfeit dollars. Take it to the bank. See what they say about it. If they say it's good, if it goes through, you know it's good. He says, fine, no problem, deal. He takes a couple of dollars, takes $1,000, and he comes to the teller. The teller looks at the $100 bills. He stretches it out, looks in the light, and he says, this is good. This is real money. The guy says, wow, this is incredible. This is incredible. For $30,000, I can make $100,000. You know what? I'm actually going to borrow money. I'm going to give him 60 grand and let him give me $200,000. Wonderful deal. All right, they make up where to meet. They make up where the money is going to be exchanged. And he's already thinking to himself, what is he going to do with all that money? He'll pay off the mortgage. He'll have enough money for tuition. He'll have enough money to just do whatever he needs to do. Life is going to be great going forward. And he comes in there with the $60,000, 60 real $1,000, the authentic money, and he's ready to get the counterfeit. And he gets the counterfeit, and he's excited. He's got now 2 suitcases full of money, $200,000. It's amazing. He walks 1 block. All of a sudden, a police officer stops him. And he says, what do you got there? He says, I got money. He says, let me see this money. He takes a look. He says, open up the suitcase. He opens up the suitcase. And he tells the guy, let me check. This doesn't look real to me. Checks this out. He says, let me ask you, where'd you get this from? He says, what do you mean? He says, this is not real. Where'd you get this from? You're going to be arrested now. And he says, what are you talking about? He says, come here, you're in handcuffs. He realizes he's in big trouble. He runs. He runs for his life. At least he's out. He lost $60,000, but he's saved. And now this policeman is ready to make a police report. And the question is, how did this policeman realize? How did he realize? Even the bank teller didn't realize. How did he realize? The answer is that this police officer didn't know. He was part of this gang that made the switch. But the question is, why did the guy fall for it? He took it to the bank teller. The bank teller told him it was real. Why did he think anybody would catch on? It doesn't make sense. Says the Alta from Slabotka. The Saba from the Vardik says, you know what happened? There was a little bit of a doubt in his heart. And once there was a little bit of a doubt in his heart, as soon as he was put to the test, that was it. The doubts came in, and he ran. He failed the test. Says the Saba from the Vardik, that's exactly what happened when Klal Yisroel received the Torah. When Klal Yisroel received the Torah, so yes, of course, we all sat together, we chimed together, Nasiv and Ishma. We're gonna do and we're gonna hear. We're willing to first do and then hear. Right? Where do we sign? Everybody's in unison, everybody's together, Ke'ish echad belev echad, with one heart, with one soul, with literally one voice. But there was still an element, some small element in the recesses of their heart that still had a little bit of a doubt. And when you're tested, when a person is tested at that particular moment, he's going to fail. He's going to fail. The truth is, the same thing is true with everything in our lives. Everything in our lives operates the same way. If you don't accept something 100%, then the smallest test will cause you to fail. It will cause you to just crumble at that moment. If you think about it, I had a guy tell me, Rabbi, I'm planning to stop smoking. I stopped already for 2 days. God willing, I'm not going to go back to it. I really hope that this is going to be the end, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to overcome the addiction. And I told him, listen to me. I know for a fact you're going back. I know for a fact you're going to smoke again. He says, well, how do you know? I says, already I heard you say the word hope twice. I hope I'm not going back to this again. This was the worst thing, and God should help me, and I should never go. That's it. You're done. You're going back. You're going back. There's no way you're out of this. You're out of the woods. The Shach, when a doctor told him, in those days, people didn't know it was so bad to smoke. The doctor told him one time at a later age, almost impossible to stop smoking. He told him that this is not good for your health. You have to stop smoking. At that moment, he took the cigarettes, he crumbled them. He said, never again. And he never smoked again. Never smoked again. The idea is a lot of times we make decisions, but we leave little openings. The moment we leave little openings, at that point, it will never happen. You ask a person, you come to the shiur next week. I'll see, if everything works out, I'm not going to get delayed, and I'm going to get off work on time, and forget it, the guy's not coming. He's not coming. Right? It's not the way things work. You see that from Matan Torah. The greatest time, the greatest moment in Jewish history, as the Jews are standing in Har Sinai, they're chanting Nasiv and Ishma, but says the Sabab Navardik that there was a small element of perhaps maybe a little bit of disbelief, and therefore it was a tremendous, tremendous relapse. David HaMelech went to war with the Plishtim. We know that Shaul HaMelech says that whoever is able to go to war with the Plishtim and win the Plishtim, they're going to be the one to marry my daughter Michal. They're going to be the one to marry Michal was gorgeous. She was beautiful. And Shaul HaMelech watches David come back and says David came back with 200 foreskins of the Philistines. In other words, that was his proof that I killed them, right? You can't take a guy's foreskin off without killing him, right? So the guy's going to fight, especially if he's a non-Jew. And David HaMelech shows up, and what does Shaul do? Shaul gives Michal to Palti ben Laish, to a different person. To a different person. Okay, David HaMelech doesn't argue, but Palti ben Laish, it says that for all the years that he lived under the same roof as Michal, he never touched her. He never touched her. How does a human being get that extraordinary strength? Where do you muster that strength? It's impossible. Every normal guy likes a woman, right? That's the way God wired us. So how does he get that strength? It says that Palti ben Laish understood that this woman, Michal, doesn't belong to me. She belongs to David HaMelech. He decided, the Gemara tells us, he took a dagger and he placed it right in between the beds, right at the wall, and he said to his wife, to Michal, if any of us pass this line, we're going to be stabbed with that dagger, with that sword. In other words, he made up his mind. Now the question is, you think to yourself for a moment, it's very hard to understand this Gemara because at the end of the day, he's the one that plants the dagger. The distance between, taking that dagger off and the sin is minutes. A person is overcome and that's it. So what actually stopped him? What stopped him? What stopped him is, the idea is that he made up his mind 100% and there was no room. There was not one little opening. He says, this is not my wife. I'm not going to mess around. I know Shaul HaMelech gave her to me, but at the end of the day, he promised that the one that wins the war gets this lady, but he's a king, so I have to be under the same roof, but I don't have to touch her. And for all the years that he was together with Michal, he never ever touched her. And that's the power. That's the power of a person making up his mind. When a person leaves even a little bit, you see this in business all the time. Person goes into business, I'm going to give it a try. You're going to give it a try. You're opening up yourself up for tremendous failure. What do you mean you're going to give it a try? What business works by giving it a try? You got to give it your whole life and soul. Everything has got to be in it 100% and more for it to succeed. It doesn't work just like that. I'll give it a try. I'll give it a try means you gave yourself opening for failure. You gave yourself opening for failure. You will fail. The person will fail. It's just a matter of time. You won't be able to hold on so long. I had a guy once tell me, this was before the internet, this was before all the gadgets were out. He says, Rabbi, I'm losing my family. I said, what are you talking about? He says, you don't understand. We have a TV. We have a TV in every room. Each kid goes to his own room. He's got the freedom to look at any channel he wants. This one looks at this channel. That one looks at this channel. We don't have supper together. We don't have... I'm losing my whole family. That's it. Everybody's in their own room, and it's not the same anymore. He's talking before the times of the iPhones. Now it's an epidemic that it's tremendous, tremendous problems. I have sometimes husbands call me up. They tell me, Rabbi, I don't know what to do. I can't live with my wife any longer. She doesn't get off the phone. All day. Right? He's going crazy. He just sticks it out with her only because of the kids. He says, I'm not married to her. I can't, there's not a moment that I could have a conversation with her. And in a sense, so he said one day, I decided that was it. I took the TV, I put it in the basement, I locked it up. I said, you put it in the basement? Are you kidding me? I said, why don't you throw it out? He says, nah, that's too much, Rabbi. I said, you left that opening, you're definitely going to fail. You know what? There's going to be a great ball game. You're going to want to see it. It's going to be the World Series. It's going to be wonderful. You got to see the World Series. Come on. You're going to bring up the TV. It'll never go back down. That's it. Once you brought it up, it's never going back down. The moment you leave yourself that opening, you're going to fail. There's not a chance that you'll win. What's the remedy to win? It says, Hayoim im bekole tishmon. Hayoim bekole tishmon means that when a person makes a decision, it's got to be hayoim. He's got to do it today. Because if it postpones to tomorrow he's going to postpone again to the next day. And before you know it, the iron is not so hot anymore, and he's not going to be as excited. And what's going to happen is, slowly it's going to fizzle away. It says the Gemara, the Torah tells us, Sham. What does Sham mean? Then, there. In other words, I'll do it then. But Sham, the pasuk ends off, Sham tiyeh kvuraschem. Over there will be your burial. Which means to say, as soon as a person has the idea of Sham, that I'm going to do it then, it's going to be gone. At that moment, the person there's no way that anything good is going to come out of it. But hayoim im bekol tishmo, if you're going to heed his voice today, then it's going to happen. Then you will be able to hold on to that dream or that good character or that decision. But it's only hayoim. It's only if you decide today and you don't let it linger. The moment the person lets it linger, then it's no good. The idea of belief is one that always needs tremendous chizuk. You know, we think to ourselves, if God was to come and tap us on the shoulder today, and He'll tell us that I want you to do X, Y, and Z, we think, you know what? We're going to listen. We're going to listen, and we're not going to move right or left. But the truth is, it's the furthest thing from reality. It's the furthest thing from reality. Even if God tells us today, He comes down to Flatbush Park, or He comes down and He says, there's no more talking in shul. Right? Everybody hears it. Right? And we all say, Nasav and Ishma. We'll do and we'll hear. But what ends up happening? There's a Yetzer Hara that comes into place. Right? We all said Nasav and Ishma and Har Sinai. And yet we did the Egel. Right? We did the Egel. So what's the answer? The answer is we have to understand that belief is always work. And if we put a tiny little bit of a way out, we're inviting tremendous failure. We're a little bit before Pesach. Pesach is a time, Zman Cheresenu. It's a time of our freedom. Right? We know that Mitzrayim, what was Mitzrayim? Mitzrayim was the idea of constricting. Mitzrayim, mina meitzar korosika. Meitzar is that tight spot. Right? Mitzrayim was a tight spot. It says no slave will ever escape Mitzrayim. Once a person was in Mitzrayim, he was in Mitzrayim. That was it. There was no going out of Mitzrayim. But Mitzrayim is a time of freedom. Mitzrayim is a time where you could burst forth from any limitation that a person feels he has. A person has a limitation. He thinks, you know what, I can't do it. I can't do it. This is too much for me. Mitzrayim allows you to burst forth. Nisan is that time. A person thinks, I can't get that job. I can't be that great father. I can't be that amazing husband. Right? I can't be that great employer or employee or neighbor or whomever. No. That's the idea of Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim, when we believe in ourselves 100%, we believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and then we believe in ourselves, right? And we don't leave any room whatsoever to fail, that's when we succeed. And this is the idea of Matan Torah. This is the idea of Pesach. The idea of Pesach is, you're a Jew. You have to go for success all the way. You can't be partial. If you leave a little bit of room, you could have the most momentous point in history, and it would end up in total disaster. Why? Because it wasn't 100%. We should be zocheh that this Pesach, we look at things from that lens, from the lens of when I take something upon myself, I'm going to do it to the finishing line. There's no Be'ezus Hashem, I hope I'm going to succeed. Of course, we need God's help. But if all of a sudden a person is using God as a crutch, so I don't have to work as hard, it's not going to happen. But if I use HaKadosh Baruch Hu as a chizuk mechanism to make myself stronger and work harder, and of course have total bitachon in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's when we know that we'll be able to be successful with God's help. And Be'ez Hashem, we should experience an amazing freedom, an amazing burst of freedom, that anything that constricted us up till now will be able to burst forth and be able to be successful in. Thank you. And we wish everyone a Be'ez Hashem a good Shabbos, right?